Hey, it's Mike Hambright. Welcome back for another Flip Nerd VIP interview show. Today I have with me a good friend of mine, Blake Yarborough out of Houston. He's a mortgage broker, a hard money lender. He's a HomeVestors franchisee, owns over 100 rentals, and just bought a ReMax franchise. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire. We're going to learn how he does it all, how he manages it all, and learn a little bit more about Blake. Before we get started, let's take a second to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Blake. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. So we've been talking a little bit before we started recording here about all the stuff you've got going on, and as a fellow franchisee, we've talked a number of times. I've always been impressed with your operation. I know you've got a lot of different things going on. But for folks that don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about all your operation?
Well, hello. I'm Blake Yarborough. I come from a finance background. I've owned Capital Concepts. It's a mortgage lender, mortgage banker, and I've had that company for 16 years. Comes from a financial planning background. I still have my license as a certified financial planner. That's why I have a weird company name for a mortgage company. Okay. But over the years, I've had it really took to a real estate investment, and I've kind of my niche became real estate investor loans. And about the last 8 years, I've been financing investor loans primarily, and then started hiring some good people, and it got to the point where I had about 60 rental units, and a guy by the name of Ricky Williams, which you know well. Yep. He kept on saying, "Hey, Blake, when are you going to be Blake Trump instead of Blake Chump?" And trying to get me to join HomeVestors, and I had a little more free time because the mortgage company was running good. I've got 2 offices, one in Las Colinas and one here. And finally, I signed the dotted line. I became a HomeVestor franchisee, and I've had that for about 2 years now. Yeah. And increased my portfolio from about 61 rentals to 117 right now. Great. And kind of building that up, and then like he said, I started adding the ReMax to it. Yeah. But basically, me and my wife, if we get free time, somebody watches the kids, then, we'll start driving around looking at real estate. And it's just that's all we do. It's from buying real estate, renting real estate, financing real estate, to selling real estate. It kind of consumed us. And then when we get home, time to go to bed, then we flip this house, or love it or list it, or something.
You're not watching Flip Nerd interviews at night, man? Come on. Flip Nerd. All right. Get yourself an Apple TV. You can watch us on YouTube. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's for the last 5-6 years since I've been building the rental portfolio, it's pretty much consumed us, and we've built a heck of a portfolio, and it's greatly increased net worth. But now it's provided, wonderful things. Kids are in top schools, got, second homes, and live in a great neighborhood. But now it's getting time to where I want to start backing off a little bit. I've accomplished enough, and so now I'm starting to get to the point where I want to start before it's too late, because my kids are 8 and 6. I want to start spending more time with them before I, miss their whole childhood, so to speak. Yeah, yeah. So,
we were talking a little bit before we started here for folks that are watching, and just kind of going through some stuff that probably Blake and I are probably going through some of the same things, which are, what are you doing this all for? What do you work so hard for? And maybe we're going through midlife crisis at the same time, Blake. We need to get do something crazy. But before you tell us about kind of getting to the balance part, trying to get back to that, talk about how, I think there's a lot of real estate investors that, as you start to become successful, it makes logical sense to start opening up these other businesses that are kind of bolt-ons. I know that you wanted to get more rentals, so you bought the HomeVestors franchise. You see leads that you can't buy, so why not list them through your ReMax business? But kind of talk a little bit about the justification for, a lot of entrepreneurs are either laser focused or they, decide to have a bunch of different irons in the fire. I think in real estate investing, it's not such a bad thing to have other irons in the fire. As the markets change, you probably have one business that maybe doesn't do so well, but the other one's offset it. But kind of talk a little bit about how you justified that and, why you've bolted things on over the years.
To me, everything has its place. I mean, with my different entities that I have, each one has a purpose. The mortgage company is my income. The HomeVestors is a means of providing the properties for my wealth, which is my wealth is in my rental portfolio. Mm-hmm. Maximizing the dollars that I'm spending on those leads. And I've had my real estate license for 20 years, 19 years, been a broker for 15 years. Mm. But I've been on interviews where I recognize that the brand, same with the HomeVestors, but with the brand would help me out. So I made a decision to buy that other franchise, the ReMax franchise, to maximize some of the other business that was coming in. And then it could also feed my mortgage company. So the ReMax I look at will be additional income over and above the mortgage. But that's, I'm blessed. I have the income and I'm able to leave that money alone and let it really build for my rental portfolio and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't
it's
know
kind of like
exactly where
more pieces of the puzzle. Like you start to see that maybe something's missing here. So here's how I can accomplish that is by, hiring somebody to help with that, or adding a business, or even a franchise to use the brand. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what's been going with me. The main thing is with the mortgage company, I've got a key person that came on board a couple years ago. I've got a strong guy, a key guy in Dallas as well, in Las Colinas. But the one here in Houston, Sean, he's he manages it better without me here in the office. And that hiring the right people and paying them well is something that's really opened me up and really let me start blossoming in my businesses, and it's freed me up.
Yeah,
I don't have to do everything.
Yeah, and it's such a tough. I mean, personally, I can say it's so tough to let go, and it's tough to find the right person. And when you're in the types of businesses that we're in, you're very thrifty, right? I mean, we buy cheap, ugly houses. Everything we want at a discount. And it's very different when you go to hire somebody. You probably don't want a discount cut rate person, just like you don't want like half price LASIK surgery, right? It's like, no, give me the full price one because I don't want to take any risks. But it's so hard to do as an entrepreneur because you want to be thrifty, you want to be smart with your money, but at the same time, on many levels, you get what you pay for with people. So how do you get over that hump?
Well, I mean, I've always been real poor at that. At hiring people, and I'm trying to use some of the personality profile testing and stuff like that, because your inclination is hire people more like you. I don't want to hire people like me because I'm not detail oriented. I need the opposite around me. Because I'm aggressive enough to go, but I need somebody behind me to get the pieces. Now, for a sales job or something like that, that's absolutely fine. But for more admin type or accounting type person, no, I don't want somebody that I can sit here and talk with for days, because that's probably not the person I need to hire.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm improving.
Yeah. Hey, well, you have to, right?
So no, that's kind of where we are. I'm getting some good people around me, paying for them, and trying to build from there.
Yeah. For your businesses in real estate, it's probably very different on the lending side, but are you, do you look for, it depends on the role, but in my core home buying business, administrative roles and things like that, I've tended, in my mind now, I tell people this, I try to look for people that don't have any real estate investing experience because I don't, they whenever I have, they come in with these preconceived notions about, well, here's how we did it at this place, or here's how you do that, and instead of being able to mold them, of course, the trade-off is that you're starting from scratch each time. But what are your thoughts on, kind of industry experience or levels of expertise in your specific businesses?
Well, certain roles, like a processor, you need to have somebody that has experience. But something I was kind of debating on doing recently is, trying to hire somebody new in real estate, just getting their license, and putting on there, or which way do you think, if you went and worked at a regular ReMax or a Keller Williams or whatever, and just learned how to be a real estate agent, or if you came to work for somebody like me or you that does every aspect of it, which way do that learning curve would just be so much greater for that person, and that become an expert so much faster at it. Because they would know from buying, selling, rehabbing, renting. I mean, they would know the gamut. And I think there's a lot of value to that.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's sometimes people go to work for different places and they believe that's the best way to do it, when in fact they're probably missing a lot of opportunity around it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. So, so we were talking a little bit about how you have, made some logical steps to kind of add on new businesses, and that makes sense. They make a lot of sense. It's hard to say they don't. But of course, that comes at a burden for you in your life and balance and things like that. So, talk about how you deal with the balance side, and because I deal with that all the time. How do you? I'm a workaholic. I mean, I'm a self-professed workaholic. And like you said, a lot of times I tend to think that, well, I can do it better than anybody else. Subconsciously, I'm thinking that. Let me just take care of it. I tell people sometimes, if I was at McDonald's, nobody'd be able to fry the fries as good as me. But that's just not the highest and best use of my time. And I think that's a plague of a lot of entrepreneurs. So
let me go back about 15 years on you. I was dating my wife, and mortgage guy rolling in the office about 10 o'clock. She was working in a dialysis clinic and getting up at 4 o'clock to go, and I probably didn't have the right work ethic. I was a little bit less than 30 years old, and she's like, if you're going to be with me, you're going to get off, you're going to work, and you be at work before 8 o'clock. You need to do it, and she let me know what she felt.
Yeah.
And, well, now she's like, she kind of created a monster because, like you're workaholic, work too much, if it's not this, then we're going over here. And there's been times she's be afraid to call me because, Blake, during the day, I know you're too busy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But something hit me recently where, I'm missing my life. If I never buy another asset again, I'm okay. I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And, so, like I said, my daughter is 8, my son's 6. I've got a handful of years until they're early teens and wanting to be with their friends at all times.
Right.
And these will, development years where these will be the years they remember, and so I'm starting to want to figure out how to structure things where it's a little bit less of me. And I'm about to say, for you, not so much, but for me, the S word. Ooh, systems.
Yeah.
I'm not a big systems guy, but I'm you know what? I'm learning that I need to put some things in place.
Yeah.
So it's not always me. And if it is a system, I can plug people in, say, here's these few tasks, do them over and over and over again, and you'll be successful, or you'll be able to do what I asked you to do.
Yeah.
Because if I can get this done like I'm starting to cut some of the excessive overhead out and plug in some people that and put them on tasks that take less of me, where I have, or my kids get more of me. I mean, that's what life's supposed to be all about. Where I feel when I get home at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and it's about 7:30, not even 8 o'clock, and I feel like I've been with the kids all day, and it's excessively long time. Not in a bad way. It just, wow, it feels special. I've been home a long time.
Yeah.
And then you look at that a different way. Man, that's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Why don't I do this every day?
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
those are the kind of moments you want to work, make sure you provide for your family and this, that, the other. And like a buddy of mine asked me a few months ago, Blake, what drives you? And my first reaction or statement was fear. You know, and because back in 2009, when the Dow dropped to about 6,500, my mortgage company lost money. Peers were going out of business left and right. I had a 3-year-old, 1-year-old. My daughter had given up her nursing career. And, you know, flat out, I didn't have enough money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start having the fear of a failure, fear of, as a man, you know,
Right.
and what am I going to do? My family's come to a certain lifestyle. So that's what's kind of driven me building this rental portfolio over the last 5.5 years. And, you know, now it's kind of time to start slowing down. I'm okay. I've got enough stuff. Now let me start concentrating on my family and spend time with them.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, I think we're going through a lot of the same things where you just start to realize that you know, I've been blessed and fortunate that we live well below our means, and so have savings, we have a rental portfolio, we have businesses that, you know, some things run without us, some don't, but I think you get to a point where you just, you know, start to question, what's it all for? Why am I working this hard? Am I living for the day? You know.
What's that old saying?
Yeah.
It's a dead man. Has a man on his deathbed ever wished he would have worked more hours or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
And so no, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah. But I think in real estate, you know, a lot of folks this tends to be a feast or famine business, right? I mean, everybody's always worried. Everybody always feasts while they can because they're worried about the famine. and if you're structured right, maybe it never comes, or it doesn't have as big of an impact on you. But you're right. It's hard to say no to opportunity for people that are blessed with opportunity. But
well, kind of, you know, I've kept a lot of properties last year, and as I talked earlier, you know, off camera, is that me paying off this house, this brand new house I just built. Just bought. If I pay this off, I can't find a reason not to, because I'll still have plenty of investments.
yeah,
My wife wouldn't be stressed. I wouldn't be stressed. I wouldn't have to bring in as much every month. And like I said, my goal next month is to take at least a month off and away from my businesses and stuff like that. I'm thinking about a couple weeks, but that's not as such extraordinary. I want to go ahead and let's just, you know, what if we did, or what's that old saying? I know it's impossible, but if we could, what would it look like? You know, if I can get that paid off and get my overall, just selling some of the things, and then the quality of life would just turn. I'll never retire. Yes, I have more than enough real estate for most people to retire, but I like to buy things. I like to, you know, do things, and I don't want to be encumbered or by not having enough.
Yeah.
And me having no mortgage payment, my overall expenses would be just a few thousand a month, and I got well more than that coming in from real estate.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's how do I do that? Quality people, pay them, and hopefully I'll get all that in place. Right now, I like the way it's starting to move forward.
Yeah.
I like what's starting to develop. So.
Yeah, I'd say for myself personally, you know, some of the things that you talked about in terms of trying to hire the right people and have good people, it's just as important. There's a guy that Ernie Hughes, and I don't know if this is his line or if he stole it from somebody else, but he's kind of related to hiring. He's always had this line, hire slow, fire fast. And man, I've caught myself several times where one of the challenges you have in a small business is you don't have redundancy. You don't have a backup, right? So sometimes you subconsciously start to make a decision that the pain of getting rid of the wrong person is more than the pain of going through the process of hiring the right person and going through that process, or that it's less. So you start to justify, well, maybe they just need a little coaching. Well, maybe they just had a bad week, and just, it's tough because you just don't have, there's no room for error with weak links and people that aren't committed. So
like I said, I'm trying to use this personality profile thing lately, and it's kept me from hiring a few people. It's the 4 strengths profile, as you're well aware of.
Yep.
But it's, as I'm finally learning more about it, and how to read them. Maybe I should have kept 1 or 2 of those people I passed on, a month ago. But it's all a process, and it's I just have realized that I'm not good at hiring people, so I'll have Sean or somebody else try to interview them as well to kind of have another set of eyes on them.
Yeah.
But you touched on it, or Ernie did. Rather, it's when they're already in the office with you, when you've already invested all this time with them, and you deep down they're not the right person, but then you're like, oh, I gotta let them go, but then you don't want to let them go, and
yeah,
and it's really a struggle, and then it's another burden on you, and it's something else that makes you kind of lose sleep at night.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it's to realize that if they're not the right fit for you, you're probably not the right fit for them either. So you're really doing people, I don't mean to say this in a way to just make it easier for you, but you're doing them a disservice by not allowing them to go out and find something that's a better fit. Now, the short term, they may not see it that way, and you may not see it that way. But if you've ever been in a relationship where you broke up and it wasn't your decision to break up, you're like, life is over. I can't live without that person. And then, years down the road, you're like, man, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, because I never would have met my wife if that didn't happen, or whatever. Not that anybody in the world has ever broken up with me, but that's what I hear. But, I think it's just, you got to, as an entrepreneur, you got to look past the short-term pain with hiring decisions to get to, the people that can make your life easier and be good for them and good for your business and everything.
Spending quality weekends, or weekends away from work and with the kids. Of course, now they're all in sports, so I'm bad about coming home on time, but I try to be real good at that. I've never played soccer in my life. I was my son's head soccer coach.
Yeah.
He was 6 years old, so I can get away with point.
Yeah.
Right. I saw, I tried to help out assistant T-ball last year and this year, and basketball rolled around. I'm 5'9", 240. Don't really look like a basketball player. I look more like a basketball than a ball player. But working on that though. But I saw some emails go by where no other father stepped up. So I was like, honey, I'm going to do it. She said, Blake, do you have time? Well, so I ended up being head basketball coach for my son, again. And so, I'm trying to participate there. But really, the spending the time in the evenings or whenever. There was, on a Sunday, here about a week or 2 ago, I hated doing it, but I needed to go somewhere related to an inspection on a house. And my son said, Mom, why does Daddy always work? He never has time to spend with us.
Yeah.
Ouch. It makes you want to tear up a little bit. And
yeah.
now my wife, I don't know if she's speaking from the heart or just trying to save me. She's like, well, Blake, to be honest with you, he had you 23 hours a day. He'd take you. He'd still be crying he didn't have you 24.
Yeah.
You know, but it hits you, and so you know, I've got 6 basic steps I got to do to knock that house out, to relieve that off my shoulders, to run out of excuses on why I have to make X amount of dollars a month. And at least that's right now my squirrel, or that's what I'm going after.
Yeah.
And you know, the kids need us, and I've got some other things. Of course, I paid off. I want to take on more debt, which my wife drives her nuts. But I want to buy some land where we can go out there and get away from the city and, you know, good, clean fun with the kids while they're still young enough. But that's my big why.
Yeah.
Right now, why I'm trying to re-engineer or change things up a little bit, and to be with the family, to be with the kids. Where my wife says, Blake, we don't want you to die, you know, and I'm like, well, that's a good thing. She doesn't want me to die, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you start, when everybody around you, I remember Sean and Jeff at the mortgage company one day, about a year ago, so they were talking, well, if Blake dies, all the warehouse lines and everything are in his name. What are we going to do? And right about that same time, my wife's, you know, worried about my health as well. I'm like, man, everybody's trying to kick me off. Maybe, of course, I was being oblivious to it, but, you know, I wasn't taking care of myself. And I don't know if I was 270 then, but I was, you know, too heavy. And then obviously working I was in too high of a stressful situation in my life where, you know, I looked like a candidate for a heart attack. And everybody else around me knew it, except me. I wasn't paying enough attention to it. And, you know, hopefully that won't be me. So,
yeah,
another reason to change.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, the good thing is, you know, you've kind of recognized you need to make some of those changes and just got to stick to it.
Yep. So, anyway, that's where we are. That's what I'm starting to do. And that's how I'm doing it.
Awesome, Blake. I appreciate you sharing some personal side of you there. I mean, it's important. I think it's a great learning experience for other people. It's like, you know, some people work so hard to get to a point to where, you know, where they're maybe even a fraction of where you are. And it's so easy to get caught up in that's just how life has to be to from here on out. But, you know, the question is, do you look back and do you regret that at some point? So most people probably do.
Well, I mean, you know, that's kind of my little mantra during the last handful of years. This is my 80s. This is my chance to really make some money. But, you know, it's that how much is enough kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I'm proud of, I don't have any partners on anything I do. So if I'm going to succeed, it's because of me. If I'm going to fail, well, I'm going to be steering the boat. So it's going to be on me. But now I think I'm finally getting to a place where I don't want to come across bragging, but I do have enough, you know, and now it's time to simplify.
Yeah. And I think the key, you know, one of the key learnings there is it was done through real estate, right? I mean, there's no doubt that rental properties, you have assets that are going to continue to pay dividends for a long period of time. And I think that, you know, I don't have as many rental properties as you, but we have a pretty nice portfolio. And, you know, I always wish I had more, but the one thing that I'm happy of is that it is where it is. I mean, we could probably live off our rental property for the rest of my life and I wouldn't have to work in. Like you, that's not enough for me. I'm not looking to survive. I want to thrive. But it's great to know that you have, you know, there was a time in my life, even 6 years ago before I got into real estate investing, where I had no rental properties.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just that portfolio alone makes a world of difference when it comes down to having some security.
Absolutely. I mean, I always look at every house I buy. One, it's a car payment. Well, you know, and then it's a Depends on the car.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's an ATV payment now. But the other thing is it's a savings bank. If I get in a pinch, I could sell it. Like when I started first buying houses, right when everything dipped and I thought I was going to have to close the mortgage company down. I said, well, I still had some money in credit, so no matter what, if I bought a bunch of houses and I bought I think 10 properties, 12 doors within a 6-month period, I knew I could sell them and make some money off of them because each one I was capturing, a certain amount of equity and the percentage and that's how I still look at my rental portfolio. One thing about real estate, or especially single family real estate, that a lot of people don't think about it compared to multifamily is there's a certain amount of liquidity there. If you can sell one off at a time. Where if it's a 100-unit apartment complex, it's hard if you're short on money, you can't quite, banks don't lend money when you need it, right?
Right.
So, with a single family house, you can owner finance it, you can sell it. There's just a bunch of different things you can do.
Sure.
So anyway, that's one of the ways I look at things.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Blake, thanks for sharing your story and
Absolutely.
letting us learn a little bit more about you today. And I enjoyed it.
I'll see you here in a couple months.
All right, Blake. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.